So this talk is not about Drupal, it will be about something boringly different. I checked statistics 5 minutes ago, and Drupal is going down for the last 2 years. Is this true or not? Looks true to me. I think WordPress is leading because it has less features and much better interface, basically. It was built around people who want to publish stuff. And I think Drupal's biggest problem is that it's been built around geeks and computer scientists who wanted to make their life easier, not their users' life easier. So this talk will not be about Drupal, but about all sorts of users, about UX, a mashup of UX buzzwords and stuff. I hope you'll not fall asleep since you just eaten a huge steak. Yeah, was it good? Great. So, about me, 6 slides only. I'm a family guy, has a dog, like to eat, want to grow hair. In my job life, I do many workshops with users and with clients. So, it's like, I think Einstein once asked, what does a woman want? And what does a client want is probably something that we sometimes question ourselves. And yes, workshops are a better way than just, imagining what a customer might want. You just, do a workshop and together you come to something they want. Then I sit to my computer and I draw some wireframes. I put them on the wall like this, and I put some user journeys on my monitor, on my screen, and I play with it. And then I test on users and stuff, UX guy. Then we have more workshops. This is me impersonating a funnel, sales funnel. Should do this sometimes. And this is Service Jam. If you have heard about this, it's about user-centered thinking event, where you basically whole day or whole weekend workshop where you think about users all the time and you don't see code. It's interesting. Might try. So I like psychology, communication. I did all this, that, whatever. I come from D-Labs. We do interaction design, visual design, front end. We have developers, London, Slovenia. Some projects. I think one of these projects is made on Drupal. We like Drupal, but not for everything. Usually the case is that if we need more than one user, if we need to work with users, we would go Drupal. Otherwise, WordPress or maybe something that developers do. Maybe that's something I shouldn't be talking on this conference, but sorry, just the truth. So, first question, what is UX? I will provide the answer. In the old times, users were not important because technology was so hot that features were important. Then we got this. Remember this, maybe some are too young. Yeah, okay, it's WordPerfect. If you wanted to put something in bold, you had to go to the workshop or classes or something, or read a book, because it was really, really heavy to do anything. And then this thing had many features, and then this thing came and had even more features because they want to compete with each other, and there were like many features for everyone. And if there was a guy on forum who said, I need this feature, they build it, probably. They didn't do any proper research at Windows, at Microsoft at that time, but nowadays they're doing some research, I think. I heard. And then they came up with a great solution for bad experience of their users, and that was, you know, they sold you, first they gave you this, then they sold you software with a book, and then after that they even, you know, you can become a gold partner or something now, you know, or a silver partner of Microsoft. This means that you have, you know, you have all the knowledge to teach people because they are idiots or something. The other way is just to build things, you know, that people know how to use it and like it and promote it and all that. So these were the times of featureitis. It's a disease, you know. I think a disease Drupal has. Yeah, anyone agrees with that? Okay, featureitis, yeah, it is. Then some people started fighting it. This is Don Norman. This guy had invented the word user experience design, and he helped Apple building their products. And this is a great picture. I love her. She's Marissa Mayer. Now she's at Yahoo, and she's responsible for Google homepage to stay featureless, if that's a word. But nowadays, UX is really, really popular, and many people, you know, this is the boringest elephant and 6 blind men, or 5 in this case. You know, this is an elephant, and everyone thinks it's something different. This guy thinks it's a wall. This guy thinks it's something stubborn. How many people are from Slovenia? Pillar, thank you, Pillar. This guy thinks it's something else, whatever. Well, I will not go into this, sorry. I was just sick 2 days ago, and my energy levels are lower than usual, so sorry, bear with me. So in UX field, it's quite strange, you know. Some people do CSS and HTML, and they think they are UX people, and they never even meet users, they never open Google Analytics, they never do anything UX-ish. They just think because they are on the frontier, they're building the front end, they do UX. That's not really the case. Some people come from, you know, business perspective, and all they are thinking about is KPIs. They open their Google Analytics and nothing else, and they just, okay, is this making money or not? This is usually short term. On the long term, you need to, you know, build content, take care of usability, do usability research and user research and all that. And these guys are also funny. Usually designers who came from agencies, you know, they did billboards and jumbos, and then they go and design websites and interactive products, and all they care about is it simple? How does it look? Is it shiny? And that's also, I think, you know, just one of the perspectives, probably not good enough. Then once I went to the UX is really a mess nowadays, I think. This is how people call themselves, people who do UX. For example, there's a guy who called himself information developer. And then there's also a guy, creative front-end developer. He's a special one. One is CIA agent. User experience artist. I wouldn't hire this one. So I wanted to know what actually is UX, so I read some books, I went to conference, I'm collecting infographics on UX, all that. I even went to Silicon Valley to check what's going on there, and this guy said, launch fast, don't think too much, and then just A, B, C, D, test it, and you'll see your UX, your users will be satisfied at the end. And this guy said, this is Luke Wroblewski, front-end ninja. Mobile first, you probably heard about him. He said, just get a pink unicorn, so someone that can do it all, researcher, interaction, visual designer, front end in one single person, you will not encounter any problems. So it's pink unicorn thinking. And then there are some guys who are, you know, really up in the clouds, and they say it's not about user experience, it's about customer experience and service design, and you know, they go too far. Some people just, you know, deal with processes and say, you know, UX, try to fit it in Agile, don't do Agile. They try to explain it through that perspective, through processes. And then some people just do that data mining. This is UX girl from Mozilla. They have, I think, 7 or 8 people who are just mining data, user data all the time. Just how are they there? That's also, you know, many perspectives. And then things are gonna be really, really worse in 10 years. Here's Marco. He has just built cube sensors, which are the, you know, this Mike Kuniowski is the guy who has written a book, Smart Worlds, something. Okay, and he's, you know, he says, okay, all these things are becoming really, really cheap. So we will be building stuff like, you know, parking place that is built dynamically, and because there's a light sensor knows is your car there or not, whatever. Things will become really, really complicated once UX is not, you know, on a screen, not even on, you know, this screen and mobile screen and that screen, but, you know, everywhere. You know, every device is aware of them herself and all that. And how to plan UX for that is something we don't really know for now. Whatever. Then I've discovered one thing that I kind of liked, you know. It was Steven Anderson's mental notes. I'm not selling them, but I suggest you buy them. I will not earn nothing from this, but if you're starting to think about UX, maybe this is a good opening, because it's really simple. It's like reading tweets, a bit larger tweets. You get this book with 52 cards, and on every card it is a psychological or neuroscience fact with a hint. What should you do about this in your interface or in your product? So this guy did this, Steven Anderson. So a few weeks ago, I was trying to, you know, get some sense of these cards, and the problem was that they were really, really hard to, you know, what's in there? It's so many cards. It's hard to find some meaning in them. Every card, each and every card is interesting, but when you try to put them together, they just don't make so much sense. But I like them, so I kind of did some card sorting, so grouped them in several groups, and I came up with a solution how we should do our UX. So it's like 7 simple steps, you know, like every stuff you meet online. Really meet your users, not too bad first impression. Arouse, create tension, make it understandable, make it usable, create something that wows in the head, and create a relationship beyond the interface. Now I'll continue. So, our usual, when we think about our users, we think, oh, this is ideal lady, she has her new iPad, she has her new iPhone, and she has all the credit cards we are going to use on our website. But in reality, sometimes things are really different. When you really meet your users, you realize that they read, you know, some newspapers. They have really weird phones, and we shouldn't even bother doing responsive stuff, because, you know, if this is your user base, you're fucked. They don't know how to pay with credit card, and they don't see really well. This is something that really, really happens, you know, when you go and meet users that are over 60 or something. They don't see that well, you know, and if you have this agency designer, he would say, oh, put this text in 11 font is okay, and put it on in gray or something, and this lady will have big problems, and she will not give you her money, and she's not using PayPal either, so you will have problems. So you have to know who are these people and how they operate, and they use things differently than we do. Usual way of thinking, if you're more techie guy, is we'll go to analytics, we'll go to Google Analytics. Well, this is what you see from Google Analytics. It's, you know, like chopper view over your landscape, over your users. you see the crowd, you see where it's going, you see, okay, there's a river, they're going there, they're going to be chopped by alligators or something, but it's hard to find new ideas like this. It's hard to find solutions like this. So it's an old trick, the oldest trick in the book is go closer. And this is how close you should go. This is Diane Fossey. She was 13 years, I think 18 years she spent in Rwanda jungle hugging monkeys, hugging gorillas. And we wouldn't know nothing about gorillas today if she wouldn't be there. I think a true UX guy, or even if you are doing something for users, which you're basically, I think you do something for users, you have to be like this, like once every 14 days. Just hug users, talk with them, bring them to lunch, but not users who are your friends, geeks like you, but people from the street. This is some research. Companies were asked, how is your experience? How quality is the experience your users are experiencing? And 80% of people from these companies said, we deliver superior experience. And then they asked their customers, and only 8% said, we agree, this is superior. This is, there's a gap. There's a huge gap between we geeks, we product owners think something is, and at the end, when you encounter a user who really can't find anything on your website, or 1 in 5 tasks is successful, then you realize you have a problem. And you will not find this problem in Google Analytics. Well, you can measure it, but you will not feel it. You will not feel the anger of that user in Google Analytics. Google Analytics is for safe players, for pussies. So you do research. Usually, if there's a product owner, so the guy who built some website or product, you should put him in the other room, so he will not interfere the process. He will probably say, no, that's not how you're supposed to use it. That's the usual reaction of geeks who thinks that users are idiots. Don't use these glasses. Listen to this guy. He's smart. Jacob Nielsen. He had a really ugly website, probably built on Drupal. But they just closed it. Now he has a different website. So yeah, when you are talking to users, try to ignore what they say and what they wish for, because if you listen to their wishes, you will end up with Microsoft Word in 1995, or you'll end up with Drupal. Sorry for these organizers, sorry. But you should focus on users' needs. You should focus on the context of their use, the behaviors, the mishaps. When they make a fail and when you observe the fail, why did this happen? Where was our mental model different than their mental model? Create some stuff, this looks like fancy graphics or something, but you could make it on paper, Customer journeys is something that, you just sketch and think about person, how will she encounter your website, why will she encounter your website, which part will be where will be the entry part, and what do you want at the end, how happy, what feelings they want to evoke at the end. And if you just spend, I don't know, an hour drawing and thinking about the user, your products will be much different. Even if you just put it on paper and you don't show it to anyone, just think about emotions on different states, and then a good thing to create a better customer journey is to observe people, on this journey, and that's again meet the users. So okay, next, make not too bad first impressions. Many people believe that makeup will do the trick. That all they need is makeup, but like this lady, she needs much more than makeup. Sometimes visual look is important, sometimes is not. Depends on an industry. When Google came out in 1919 something, they were really, oh, they still are, they were mocked by design community because they didn't look any special. But the fact is that their feature was so strong and so unique, and so they were so fast and they were so good that this was not important in that case. But nowadays, 2 years ago, they started big redesign, you notice it, and even Google does it now. Visual appeal has a funny effect on usability and conversions. If you have website A, website B, maybe usability factors would be the same, but you would buy somewhere. You would be encouraged to start using something if it looked a bit better. But again, it depends. This guy is alive, Craigslist, and didn't invest in visual, none whatsoever. So it's not important in any way. Not important in every product, every branch. Okay, this is too much text. Okay, arouse, create tension. So what you have to do is, when user is there, so you have met him, so you know how to build a product or a website that really is tailored to their needs. Then you have 10 seconds for first impression, which has to be really awesome if you are in, I don't know, fashion website or something, because those people are really, or if you make this website for designers, these 10 seconds are really important. But once you're over that, you need to arouse, create tension. There are some nice tools for that. For example, expose things out there on the front page or somewhere where you expect people to land. So create a good icebreaker. Create something that can users start right away, and this something has to be, something that is already on his mind. Next, arouse curiosity. For example, Pinterest tries to give you pictures that are probably of interest, that you're probably interested in, and then they kind of make it randomly, and some things are just popping here. And they arouse your curiosity, and you scroll and you scroll and scroll. My first visit on Pinterest was just never-ending scrolling, and they do this really well. Show people and logos user respect. This is a usual tool. You could put this on your website. Always works. People. Maybe that's why Facebook widgets are so important and so good, because you see people oh, they were here, oh, that's something. Your mind creates a connection. Then there are some nasty ways to create tension. For example, time limit, exclusivity, scarcity. Fab.com, you start buying stuff and then they always tell you something will end, world will collide or something. When you put things in your cart, they say, okay, you have a discount for 20 minutes if you end your shopping cart, if you end your checkout process in 20 minutes, you get special price or something. Exclusivity, scarcity, simple tools. You could, just write them down and think about your products. Where can we use time limit? Can we make it exclusive? Is it good to make our product look like there's like 5 left? Make it understandable. This is a huge thing. Many forget that UX basically comes from human-computer interactions and information architecture. We were all information architects 5 years ago. And then people just create websites without doing their homework, like thinking about sitemaps, flows, labeling, cart sorting. People just don't do that. I noticed that some just create 2 templates and then let it go, and then a mess happens, or someone is not happy, or there's a department in a company that is not satisfied because they were pushed to back to somewhere in the dark side of the website. Then really understand how they really understand. Cart sorting is a great way. if you have like 100 products and you don't know how to categorize them, just put products, put these cards in front of users and say, okay, now put this in groups and name the groups. It's the simplest tool in the world, but I don't know why people are not doing this. It helps you a lot. It helps you broaden your mind, you know. It helps you. People just label things differently among each other. So if you have 10 people using different labels, and then out of these 10 people, 3 use the same label, there's something on this label. You might use it. Another thing is use search, for example. This is the oldest case we have with Mavsar. We did some usability testing, and there was this old guy, 60 or 70 years old, who has written in Google tires. I need tires. I need tires from Mavsar or something. And Google didn't find it because what this Mavsar e-commerce store was selling was pneumatics, not tires. In Slovenian, this would be gume pa pneumatika. Well, basically, this is how many searches are made for keywords tires, and this is for pneumatics, and the difference is huge. And these poor guys, they were selling pneumatics for years. They could sell more. This was just one case in like 150 departments they were selling. And this guy, you know, on usability testing was basically, because of one guy, we started, you know, using this tool heavily and rename many stuff. And this, you know, this can bring you lots of traffic. So information design is something you could learn from IKEA. They have business metric that says users should be able to build their furniture so they can, you know, get more money because they don't need to assemble the furniture in their factory. We dumb people do it. So that's why they really invested in their. Okay, I have this. They really invested in their tutorials and stuff. Then there are these guys, airports. You know, if airport doesn't do good information design, they just, you know, people, you know, big planes are waiting for one guy who's lost. That's, you know, big expenses are there. Then, you know, some designers, all those fancy designers, they would say, make it simple, make it simple, make it simple. Yeah, simplicity is okay, but if you're building a rocket, it's, you know, rocket scientists can handle and will appreciate some complexity. And designer job is to handle complexity, not to remove features for all costs. Okay. Whatever. Don't use lorem ipsum. Just don't do it. Usually when designer gives me a template that has lorem ipsum on it, I just realize that this is a guy who is really not interested in end user experience, because he's just, you know, creating the visual. And experience is, you know, a mixture of what you get in here. And that mixture is words. I will not show you this, but it's really interesting. Make it usable. Next step. Maybe this is something you should remember. But good experience is like, if anyone has anyone played baseball in his life, or maybe just had this glove in his head, on his hand. When you have this, and then the ball comes, it just makes snap. You just, you know, you grab it. It's just awesome. And this is something that your experience should be like, you know. When user comes, it should be, you know, designed for the ball. This is a user and this is an interface. No, this is a product and this is a user. It depends on how you look at it. But I think it's a good metaphor. Human-computer interactions were built. Usability was first studied with planes because people were just, were interested why some planes fall down and other not, and some planes fall down frequently, some less frequently, and people die. And they realized that sometimes if you have Tupolev 546. I don't know if this plane exists, but there's some Russian guy sitting here. He's 60. He's a bit drunk, and he has to find an emergency button. It's important when this button is. Another way of thinking is also this. People usually do this in parks because there was a really smart architect who created the path here, not where users would like to go. And sometimes we see on websites, everyone is looking for something. Everyone has, in his mind, user has in his mind, I want to go here, but we built obstacles for users. Shouldn't do this. Oh, architects, another way. They didn't imagine that there will be a guy drunk coming home, and he will, want to put the light on, but the poor lady will get wakened in the middle of the night because her bell will ring, just because the architect didn't have the drunk guy in mind. Button design is really, really important for me and for users. And the way I test it is I put my 3-year-old son in front of the screen, and he just doesn't, he just doesn't like the ordinary screens. So even if I put him in front of the ordinary screen, he would try to touch anything that looks like a button. Because he's used to the tablet, not to the computers. Then do experiments like Jobs and Dr. House. Steve Jobs' usual way when they were building something new in Apple was like 11 teams were headed to build the same thing, and after 3 months, each team had to present to the committee, and 8 teams were, okay, you're off, you're fired or something, and 3 teams were allowed, with the best solution, were allowed to build on their product for 3 more months, and then they have chosen one. So sometimes we just make one iteration of a website or of a feature. Try to sell more. Try to build one feature and don't sell features, because if you sell features, you'll just fail. Try selling success or money or revenue or iterations or something. Set the main KPI. It's a good thing to have that every page would have a KPI, measurable KPI. Is it successful or not? You should set this to know if you're doing something good or is nothing going on. If there's nothing going on in 90% of your website, you might just delete, and keep 1 or 2 pages. And then the wow. The angry user is the opposite of the wowed user, and the value of the user who says wow is huge. This is what we usually want, let's make it something, let's make viral or something. And then marketing people come in and say, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this. Sometimes it's good enough just to have a really, really good product with a little bit of mojo. Find your mojo. Do your products have mojo, or are they plain template-ish things? No one will use them. The only pleasure will be you selling the thing to someone. Try finding the mojo. Like Google had this "I'm feeling lucky" button for ages. Do they have it now? They usually have problems on their website. They're discussing this "feeling lucky" button. Should it go or not? They're keeping it just for the mojo. Unexpected gifts, variable rewards. These are another psychological things, Sometimes people say, come to our website and you'll get a free book. Maybe just, the thing you could do to twist things around would be award people who has just, sign up to their, to your, I don't know, newsletter, and then, randomly pick 10 users and give them really, really good reward. Not ebook, not free newsletter or something. That's boring. That was done in 1995. You should find something. Maybe, maybe you just, award 10 users, call them by the phone, ask them, oh, how are you using our website? Is it good for you or not? And then they'll be happy. They will be the wow users. Even more than if you could put like 1,000 ebooks. You could give 1,000 ebooks or 10 really, really valuable gifts. Those 10 valuable gifts will give you the mojo. A joke. This is MailChimp. This is interface. And the guy is saying, why am I smiling? Yes, because I'm not wearing any pants. You should test your humor, my humor today is not working because I'm low on energy, but you should really, really test your humor. But if the jokes are good, use them. This week I've been testing humor. I'm working for an insurance company right now, and we might use Drupal. Yeah, we will. We'll use Drupal. I have found that the way people talk about their insurance cases is sometimes really funny, and they have big files of funny things that some people say, I just hit the tree and I wasn't warned with a sign, give me my money back or something. We just had like 20, 30 of these jokes, and I tested these jokes on users. It was great user research. And we just realized that some jokes were not funny, some jokes were, offensive, and we didn't want that, so we just picked the right jokes. Be smooth. Google is always bragging about their speed. I don't know how Drupal is with. It's quite fast if you optimize it. Yeah. Okay, good jokes are, I don't know, Instagram. Instagram. Once you upload the image, once you're picking the style of your image, the image is being hiddenly uploaded on the server. So the next step is really, you feel like the next step was really fast, even if you're on 3G or something, because they have used the time you've been playing to send data. So Ajax and stuff. There are two things that stay in users' mind at the end: the most pleasant moment, the most unpleasant moment, and the end. And this is maybe some good illustration. Do you know what colonoscopy is? Colonoscopy is a procedure with a doctor. They take a camera, it's like this probably, they put it like this, and they stick it up your ass to research your internals, if you have cancer or something. So this was an interesting research. Patient A has had a 8-minute procedure. This is how painful it was. The patients were asked to report every 10 seconds. Is it painful? How painful is it from 0 to 10? And this was the pain. So first nothing, then going in. Oh, this is painful, oh, let's stop a little bit, and then, oh, okay, we're done. Okay, and this was 8 minutes. And then was the other patient who was, oh, oh, fuck, shit, oh, okay, down, okay, a little bit pause, and then, okay, another small one, another small one, another small one. Okay, there were two groups of patients. With first group, they did this, same procedure, but with this, they stayed in a little bit longer. Like for 25 minutes, and at the end, after 3 days, they asked them, would you recommend this website? No, would you recommend this procedure to your friends? Would you share it on Facebook or something? No, they asked them, how painful was it? And if we measure the combined pain, these guys have suffered much more. But because this end was not so painful, these guys actually reported that the procedure was recommendable. Well, not that painful as this one. What? Yeah, Drupal is quite good, yeah. It's like colonoscopy sometimes. Okay, so at the end, you should really think how to build your experience around your product, not just. You should think about service design. So don't just think about as display is the only thing you can build. You can build around this. You can build cube sensors. In 2015, okay, this is mobile is big, whatever. We know this. These guys, and for the end, sucks at UX. Usually, the heavy companies have big problems deciding how to measure good UX, and at the end, they don't do nothing. This is how a geek looks like. And another thing I have noticed is really big fat organizations, because they just, they put IT people in one department, creative people in one department, the developers, they outsource them, and then, no one can talk. IT people, developers don't talk, designers, IT developers don't talk. And if you separate people in different sections, usually your output is not good enough because you haven't been thinking about your output, but about your organizational problems most of the time. And that's a big problem. But that's actually a big opportunity for this young generation of startups, because big fat organizations just they don't observe their market, they miss the need, and then there's a small need, a small niche, a small value. A small niche, but a big value that small companies can provide. So get excited, make things, yay. Thanks. Any questions? Oh, shit.
Did you fix the problem with Mitja Mavsar company?
Yeah, they were sold.
On which system?
With money. What?
On which system did you fix the problem with the tires and pneumatics and stuff like that?
With copywriting and firing the linguistic girl. Because there was a linguistic girl employed there to fix everything. But linguists, they open books. What does the book say is the correct thing, but what is the correct thing in real life is something completely different usually.
Okay. But which system did you use, like WordPress or?
No, this was something completely different. Yeah. No open source were used, were harmed. No, they used, Mitja Mavsar was built on lots of open source stuff, but not for content was so. What? No, nothing, just handmade. Huh?
It's an old system.
Old system that had to be proprietary. I think that was the word I was looking for. What else? Do me. You promised. I have a gift. No, I don't have a question. Do you feel that sometimes designers you're mostly not designers, if I assume, yeah? Do you sometimes feel you can't handle your designer so that you have just, problems with them? Or is it everything okay? What are the common problems? What's your, why do you hate designers? We have one designer here. Okay. It's a jumbo designer, not a web designer.
Because I think the text, the length of text should be just enough to fit on their design. This is the problem I encountered with designers. So they build a design and they say, okay, here 3 sentences, no more, but it's not...
That's also a billboard design. They were taught that there are 7 words on the billboard are enough, so they build for 7 words sometimes. Yeah, yeah. Good designers are a bit, they have to be, I'm not really sure if they should, do you think that, Marco, do you think that web designers should build their own interface or not? No? Why? They don't need to. Yeah, exactly. So they should be able to open, I don't know, the code and just maybe modify it a little bit. Yeah, okay. That would be the test I would make with my next design. I will make with my next designer. He should be able to be techy enough to open the code, change the hex code, and know what pixels are.
When you're doing something, you're going to decide what the target audience is and who you're going to optimize for it. And basically, what you're saying is that Google is keeping the wrong users. They're focusing on user experience where user is a developer using Drupal, and not the person using the website.
I think publishers have, I don't know. I think WordPress has listened better when it comes to, you know, UI.
WordPress is focusing on the user publishing the content, but they're not looking at the end user to the website. So, do you think Google is wrong focusing on developers? Because I think people working with Drupal like working with Drupal, while I don't know any WordPress developer that actually like working with WordPress.
Well, I've met some Drupal developers that hate their job.
Not the real Drupal developers.
Maybe not the real one. Maybe they're, you know, juniors and they don't handle things well.
Did you notice some improvements from version 6 to 7? Because they are improving it. They are improving things, but community that is that big as Drupal is, it's probably hard to make design decisions and move forward. I have no idea how is it to work in open source community, be a part of it. Drupal. Okay.
You might see the way Drupal community is meeting works, and you might comment on that from your perspective.
Sure.
In the context of your talk, it would be nice.
Not sure I'll be here tomorrow. No, sorry, I would, but I have little kids and they're missing me because I've been away for the last few weekends and my wife will kill me. That's the reason. Okay, thank you.